This episode is going to be a bit corny.
I'm done.
Welcome to Krocks in the Kitchen.
I am Brian.
And I am Jessica.
Yes, this is another exciting recipe video for you all. I've been working on this recipe for a little over a month now, a month or two, something like that. And this is actually the start of what will be a bigger overarching theme of some soup recipes that will be coming out in the future.
I like to call it a super secret soupy project.
Something along those lines. Either way, I have a bunch of notes on a bunch of different soup recipes that I am working on, and this just happens to be the first one, and I am super, super excited about it.
I thought this would be a good one to start with because we're at the end of summer, we're going into fall, everyone's ready for fall, but I think that summer, chowder, corn chowder to me, you can eat in the summer. We eat soup all summer long. It doesn't matter. We eat soup all year. We don't really seasonally change our soup eating habits, but I think summer corn chowder comes to mind. I think this is a good one to end the summer with, but kind of lead you right into fall. And some of the other ones you have will be really good for fall. Like the one you made a couple days ago. Oh my,
she's been raving about it for a while. So
that new recipe is so good. I just we just ran out today and now I'm I want more.
I can make more, it's pretty easy.
But we're not talking about that one now. This one is also super delicious. So do you think we should?
We should just get to cooking. All right, for this recipe, you will need some raw cashews. We like to buy these from Trader Joe's. They are raw whole cashews with no salt or anything added to them. You will also need some type of non-dairy milk. We prefer to use almond milk, but you can use whatever kind that you have available. Plus, you will need some carrot juice. Normally we like to buy around 2 cups worth just so we have that, but we have this lovely bottle of carrot juice that we picked up from a local grocer. For our salt replacement, we are using white miso. You can use some low sodium soy sauce or tamari or liquid aminos if you want, but we find that the white miso is really, really nice. Plus you get a whole other host of nice benefits from it. You'll also need 1 chopped yellow or white onion, 1 chopped red bell pepper, and some garlic. We're actually using about 3 cloves worth of minced garlic there. Plus, you will need some corn, a lot of corn, and some finely diced poblano peppers. The very first step involves making the cashews into a fine powder. We did not soak any of our cashews, but we use our high-speed blender to blitz them for just a little bit and turn them into a nice fine powder. What you don't want to do is turn it into a nut butter of some kind, so don't do it for very long. Just until it turns out about like this. After that, add in your non-dairy milk. Your carrot juice. And the white miso. Try not to make a mess like that. Sorry. After that, you just run your blender on high until everything gets combined together, and then you can just set it aside. Now, in a large pot or Dutch oven heated up to medium-high, you will add in your onions and your red bell pepper, and go ahead and throw in a splash of water or veggie broth to stop this from sticking. I actually put a little bit too much water in here, so you don't have to use as much. Once that's cooked for a few minutes, the onions have turned translucent, everything has softened up nicely, you can go ahead and add in your garlic. And you just want to cook that for another minute or so. And finally, you want to add in about 3/4 of the corn that you have, or around 2/3. You just want to have a good amount in reserve so that way you can add it back into the soup later on. But I did about 3/4 of the corn here. Once that's cooked up for a few minutes, go ahead and scoop it out and transfer it back into your blender. From here, just blitz it until it is very smooth. And back in the Dutch oven, that is once again heated back up to medium, I put in the poblano peppers and I just saute them in water for just a few minutes until they start to soften as well. Be sure to keep an eye on this and add in additional water if you need it, so that way none of these things stick and burn to the bottom. Once they are softened, you can go ahead and add in the rest of the corn and just get that heating up as well. Then you just add in the blender liquid and stir to combine. Reduce the heat to low and simmer for about 10 minutes or so uncovered. You definitely want to stir this occasionally, as the peppers and the corn will want to sink to the bottom. So, like I said, just keep stirring it until it thickens up just a bit. Once it's done there, you are ready to serve. So there you have it. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, there are some steps to it, but all in all, I mean, the entire process took me maybe 30 minutes, even from prep to actually finishing the soup. It's just top notch in my opinion. Now, if you did notice on the end there was that foam and whatnot, that will go away as it sort of cools off and that. But Jessica, do you actually want to get to tasting these?
Yeah, I do actually. Let's do it.
I got spoons.
Spoon. I think Peep's back there tasting like the entire remainder. Okay, so this is another secret. This is the next day.
This is the next day, yes.
This soup was made yesterday, although we did each eat a bowl yesterday. So this isn't like, you know, the first taste test we're doing. But
I mean, we've made this soup a few times.
It gets more creamy and like thick.
Yeah, you can like see it there.
After you you know, like cool it. And also, one time we made a huge batch, which we'll talk about in a second, and so we ended up freezing it, and it didn't change it. Like, I thought the texture stayed really good. So I always like a soup that you can freeze.
Yes, you can freeze this.
You can batch
it will
cook.
Turn out nice.
Okay, let's taste.
Go for it. So what I love about this is that it's a bunch of different things happening all at once. It is creamy. That's the first thing. It is sweet. It has a little bit of heat to it. If you want to add in some more peppers, or you want to add in like a jalapeno, or you want to add in some cayenne or something like that, you can absolutely do that too. It's got that bit of heat there. It's got that acidity that comes from like really the carrot juice and all of that. And it's just so good. Like, it's substantial too, like, which is great.
So so with the peppers, we actually, the first time Brian made this, he used jalapenos, and it was very spicy. So if you like a spicy kick, definitely go for a jalapeno. This one to me is pretty mild. Poblano peppers are very mild, relatively mild compared to jalapenos for sure. But you can definitely experiment with your peppers, add more poblanos, add less. So I actually was the one who suggested, see, I make suggestions. I help with recipes. I was like, what about poblanos? Those might be good in there. And I think we both liked the depth of flavor it gave without just being like the constant heat that the jalapeno kind of gave it.
Yeah.
So, but you know, sometimes you're in the mood for spicy and sometimes you want it a little bit more mild.
Yeah, so you can mess with the levels of that however you like. Also, a funny little tip, if you want to use it, you can use some of the peppers like a jalapeno or a poblano pepper. And while you're sauteing them, throw in a splash of like white wine or like vodka. We actually do have a bottle of vodka and I've used it before in the past. The alcohol helps to get rid of some of the capsaicin, which is the thing that actually makes things spicy, and you get more of those fruity flavors that come from peppers when you actually do eat them like that.
I'm just over here
Fancy
laughing.
little sciencey
I'm just
things.
over here laughing about our bottle of vodka.
Yeah.
Because it's the same one that's been in there since like
Marriage.
we got married, when your best man gave you a bottle of vodka. And
Yeah,
we're
there's like this much left in there, and I've never actually just drank it. Like I've only used it for cooking over the last 8+ years.
like, we have a bottle of vodka. It's a whole thing. But yeah, I think that I don't know, the flavors just come together. Like you said, it's substantial. Sometimes I'm not big on soups that aren't, like, I like chunky kind of like more chili stews kind of soups. And so this one though, I like that you can technically, you could probably leave more corn unblitzed if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
And kind of make it whatever texture you want. But I think it's perfect, the ratio you have here in the recipe. And do you want to tell them about like when we tried to make a double batch and what kind of happened there
Yes.
with fitting it in the blender?
Yes. So we did make a double batch of this. We used the same pot and all the stuff for the blender and all of that. We just doubled everything. And it will not fit into the blender in one batch. So you can either do it in batches and then finally cook everything together like we did at the end, or you can cook the peppers separately and then use an immersion blender on the pot and then blitz it up like that. It will not turn out as creamy as in the Vitamix, but trust me, it still turns out really, really good.
And you can have a little bit more control over what the consistency is when you use the immersion blender.
Yes.
So the immersion blender we have, actually, I don't think they make anymore because it's really old. But I did link to one in the blog post if you guys are curious about what the heck an immersion blender even is. So if you look at the blog post, you'll not only be able to get a printable version of the recipe, but links to where you can find some of the products and stuff that we used in the video. That's my little blog post plug for the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that this is a really great one, and it's just, very tasty.
Yep. And like I said before, I have a few more soup recipes that will be coming in the future as we go through fall and into winter and all of that. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy this sort of single batch soup series that I'm currently developing.
Yeah, this one makes the soups you're going to be seeing. You guys are used to us making these giant batches, so these are all just like 4 serving kind of mainly. For us, yeah, this definitely we would divide this into like 4 servings. We do eat pretty big, pretty decent sized servings, but like the one you made yesterday, I almost said what it was. The one you made yesterday is like 4 servings. And so I think sometimes it's nice to do the batch cooking, and then sometimes it's nice to have a bunch of recipes you can try out and then figure out which ones you really like and then batch cook those and experiment on your own with it. So I'm looking forward to sharing all of those with you guys. Because soups, honestly, we eat really, really boring. That's our weight loss. Like, we eat the same things over and over. We just switch out, like, okay, this soup for this soup and that kind of stuff. So having good soups in your arsenal that you like and that you can make over and over again and that you don't get sick of and you can like rotate into your meal plans is essential, I think, to doing this, to losing weight and eating this lifestyle.
Absolutely. So should I just get to the close then?
Yes.
Okay. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already, and click the bell notification that is right next to it so you get notified whenever we post a new video.
And we have some exciting ones coming.
We have some very, very exciting episodes coming up in the next couple of weeks, actually. So hopefully yes. Also, you can find us on social media, Facebook and Instagram, and you can message us on there and interact with us and all that kind of fun stuff. Plus, check out the blog post. You can get the recipe and get a printable version of the recipe, as well as see some amazing photos that Jessica always takes of every recipe that we do. But I think that's all I got.
That's definitely all I got.
Be excellent to each other, and we will see you next time on Krocks in the Kitchen. Bye.
Bye.